This is Journal Club, the Advanced Science Academy at Morris Catholic High School. Amanda Imhauser is going to be presenting on neural markers of ADHD using a digital therapeutic, and we'll explain what the heck that means. Why don't you try it one more time, and if it doesn't work, we'll switch.
Okay. Doesn't work, or? Did it work or no?
No.
Okay.
All right, well, here we go. I'm going to position you like this, and you guys can pin me. Okay.
Okay. So the title of this paper is Enhancing Neural Markers of Attention in Children with ADHD Using a Digital Therapeutic. All right, so the introduction. So just to introduce ADHD, it's a chronic condition that includes attention difficulty, hyperactivity, and impulsiveness. It is one of the most common neurodevelopmental conditions affecting children, and about 6.1 million people aged 2 to 17 years old have it. This study assessed a sample of children aged 8 to 12 years old, and the study aimed to use targeted digital therapy to enhance attentional control in children with ADHD. The digital therapeutic was AKL-T01, which is a game-based digitalized therapeutic developed by Alkali Interactive, which implements algorithms designed to train attention control by enhancing interference management. And interference management is multitasking. So in this, they enrolled 28 children with a confirmed ADHD diagnosis, and they had all the kids go off antipsychotic or ADHD medications. And then they used a few tasks to analyze their ADHD symptoms. So they performed a perceptual discrimination task that assessed their selective attentive abilities using EEG recording. And then this task had the participants respond to a specific stimuli while ignoring other stimuli at the same time. They also used a visual continuous performance task, which was looking at sustained attention control and inhibitory impulsivity control. They finally used the Vanderbilt ADHD diagnostic parent scale, which has the parents report clinically significant symptoms in their kids. They gave the ALKT01 intervention to the participants to help with symptoms. And this intervention is a self-guided and at-home intervention that involves both perceptual discrimination targeting tasks and a sensory motor navigation task. The perceptual discrimination task has users respond to the instructed stimulus targets and ignore stimulus distractors. And then the sensory motor navigation tasks have users continuously adjust their location to interact with or avoid positional targets. Would anyone like to do the first figure? I can do it if no one wants to do it.
Come on, somebody. Step up. Okie dokie. Hold on. Oh, that's the wrong one. Looking at the wrong thing. Sorry. Oh, it's locked. Hold on, having some technical difficulties. Come on, people. Somebody save us. Anybody. These are jerks. Oh, Lila, thank you.
Okay, I'm probably gonna do this wrong, but so I think that this is just talking about the amount that were enrolled and who dropped out at like specific times, and then like who was put on the specific like treatment, and then who was analyzed, which is like 22 to 25 people, I think. And then it just says like, I think which were analyzed in like which way. That's like I feel like that's like a really base level way of saying it, but like, yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah. Okay, would anyone like to do figure 2?
Yeah, you gotta give me a little hint
I'll
when
do
you
it.
switch it, because I'm sort of like I'm
Sorry.
waiting for awkward silence, and then I'm like, yeah, I think that's it. I gotta switch it now.
Okay. So in A, it shows the time period of the midline frontal theta. The blue line is the pre-intervention, and the orange is the post. The 0 milliseconds represents the stimulus onset, and then it's measured every 40 milliseconds. And this basically just suggests that there was an increase in midline frontal theta following the intervention. And for B, I think it's a box plot or box and whiskers plot that shows the MFT gain at early, peak window, and late stages. And each dot represents one of the people in the trial. And this shows that the cognitive process occurs how it occurs at each window. And it seems to be a numerical increase at the peak time period of 160 to 280 milliseconds after the stimulus onset.
I just want to remind everybody of the rules. You should have your camera on, people. Dr. Kerr, are you feeling any better?
No.
Sorry. I want to draw your attention to this box and whiskers plot here. This is I and one of my the colleague that taught me statistics, Dr. Gamble, we really like when the raw data is shown in this way on top of the box and whiskers plot. It's really kind of helpful. So if you ever thought about doing that for the paper, it's not a bad idea. Because it really gives you a sense of like if things bunching up like you see here or here or here, it makes it makes a lot more sense that way. Now, I'm still unclear what MFTs are. What's an MFT? Because now we're throwing it around like it's a thing. Oh, Lila.
I think in the abstract it says it's attention midline frontal theta.
Theta. Right,
That.
but I've never understood its utility, which is what I'm hoping for from Amanda. So I'm looking at the paper. Demographics, metrics, neural markers of attention. See, I think this could be a pretty interesting thing if I just understood it. This is cognitive neuroscience, which really borders. It is the border between psychology and neuroscience. We call it cognitive neuroscience. It's trying to take psychometric results and apply them to psychological, so psychometric from the neuroscience, and apply them to psychological behaviors and stuff. And I just don't really get it. Does somebody have an explanation of what exactly it is?
Is it sort of like the type of like brain activity in a certain region, or?
Because it's not like it's functional MRI. Like I understand functional MRI. This is I believe with one of those EEG dome caps on, which next year I'm going to switch back. Hold on. Transition. Let's do a quick search because this might be something to look forward to. Next year genetics or neuroscience? Neurobiology.
Neuro.
It's neuro? All right. Society for Neuroscience. 2022 is in San Diego. You think we can convince people to send us out to San Diego as a group? Probably not, right? But maybe 2023 will use the next year is usually in DC. So I was thinking we take the next year out. So in 2023, go to Washington, DC. Is somebody raising a hand that I'm not seeing? I don't know what that sound is. What is that sound? Anyway, all right, let's just keep going. Was this figure done?
Yeah.
Okay. So do I go to the next one?
Yeah, next one. All right, I can do this one. So in A, it's just showing one of the tasks they tested after AKLT01, and this was a perceptual discrimination test, and they observed a faster response time. B is a sustained attention task, and they did not see gains on RT or RTV, which I believe is reaction time, but they did see an improvement. And then this suggests that the participants had fewer attentional lapses following AKLT01. And then C is using the Vanderbilt Parent Risk Report, and this is showing that the parents observed fewer inattention symptoms following the treatment. And then D is the correlations they performed to see the associations between related neural charges and observed behavioral and clinical improvements. And then they performed correlations between neural gain scores at the 3 time windows and improvements on behavioral and survey-based assessment. And then they found changes in the reaction time on perceptual discrimination tasks, and they were related to early and post-peak MFT gains, but not to late MFT gains. And they also found that early and post-peak stimulus MFT gains were related to changes on the sustained attention task, but not to late MFT gains. And then they did not overall find any relationship between the MFT and Vanderbilt and attention improvements. That's it for that one.
Yeah, so I don't actually think. Hold on. So, Samita, you had said that this one was a box and whiskers, and I actually agreed at the time. Now I'm looking at it, and it's not. That's not a box and whiskers. That's a regular bar chart, right? People, isn't it? Which would be means, not medians. Am I right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I'm still trying to understand it. So on over here, let me make sure that I'm. So over here, this is a positive correlation, and the colder it gets is a negative correlation. So they're opposites. If one thing happens, the other thing becomes less likely. Whereas a positive correlation is if this happens, so does this. Correct?
Yeah.
I don't get it. I just don't understand it. I had some great colleagues when I was at Vanderbilt who would dumb this down for me. I don't get it. Anybody else want to fill me in on why this is important? Or it's a Vanderbilt score, so I feel like I should know what this is just from Vandy pride, but I really don't get it.
What, just like what the Vanderbilt thing is?
Yeah, what is that test?
I think that was like a test designed so the parents, it's just like an at-home test, so the parents like report the symptoms of like ADHD and what they see.
Okay, so it says, so I'm looking at the paper. Hold on, let me switch you over to the paper because I'm kind of interested. So 19 is 2003. Psychometric properties of the Vanderbilt ADHD. So like this paper, which was published the year before I got there, I don't even know if that was published at Vanderbilt or they're citing some earlier study. So I'm like, I want to go back in time, I want to go back in time and see. Transition back over here. So I want to see when this was originally designed and who did it at Vanderbilt. I'm just kind of curious. So how do I get to the full paper? PDF. All right. Here we go. All right. None of you are sending me messages, right? Who is that? It is Tiffany. Tiffany left her bag at AJ. Tiffany left her bag at the course. Is Haley on yet?
Really?
Yeah. Haley, are you on yet? No, she's still dropping
She's
people off.
not.
Yeah.
I just got on. But
all right, we'll tell her and
Wow.
Kylie to look for it. Did you? Oh, there it is. No, wait, what? ADHD Teacher Rating Scale, a simple instrument that follows. So that's Woolrake, 1998. So about 6 years earlier, right? So I want to go to Woolrake, 1998. There. I don't know any of those people. I don't know if any of those people were there when I was there. Huh. Wouldn't it be funny if they just named it the Vanderbilt thing and it wasn't developed at Vanderbilt? That would have been weird. Okay, sorry. You're indulging me. I'll stop. Shall I go to the next one?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So then the conclusions and implications are that targeted digital therapeutics can have a large range of positive effects on children with ADHD. And the digital game AKLT01 enhances midline theta, which is an EEG measure of attentional control. And the analysis performed showed that AKLT01 improved the performance on computerized tasks with attention and clinical ADHD symptoms from parent reports. That's all.
Okay. Well, so I'm not a big fan of that paper because I don't understand it, but I think that's my naivete and not anything wrong with the paper per se. Anybody have any comments? Lila.
This is just something weird I noticed a while ago. I feel like it mentions that, so the age range was 8 to 12 and the number of males was like 80% of the total like participants, which I feel like we mentioned before with ADHD was like a bad thing because like it
No.
doesn't.
No. No, last week when we looked at Haley's paper, I missed, for some reason when I read it, I missed the table that had the obvious like demographics in it, and it was about 80-20 males to females, which is actually how it shows up in real life. There's 4-to-1 male to female ratio in diagnoses.
Yeah, I meant more like, wouldn't that influence the results generally? So it might only do. Never mind.
No. That is a valid concern. I don't know how to answer that though, because it's well, first, I don't know. Isn't it funny that we're talking about this because we're supposed to pretend that there's no difference, right? In society, as I keep bringing up all the time, and probably to your chagrin, we're in society. We're supposed to pretend that males and females are actually the same, and society tells them to be different, which is just biologically not true. And you can see it in things like this measure. It's 4-to-1. Males are diagnosed with ADHD over females. But ADHD, like autism, is also thought to be a disease of maleness or masculinity. And so even females who have autism or females who have ADHD seem to have a lot of masculine traits. That's not to say they're men or anything, but that they just happen to have traits that fall on the masculine end of the range. And above all, it's an interest in things, an interest in actions and things instead of in people. You all following me so far? Because this is actually really interesting, especially if you hate school. Okay, if you are in the camp that you hate school, you would probably find it odd for a teacher to say, yeah, it's probably one of the most unnatural things you can do. And I'm saying that, okay? Because school is actually a very feminine behavior, because it's about sitting still and communicating and talking when spoken to, and like just very, very kind of like the classical feminine end of the spectrum. Whereas being masculine is about going out and hitting things and doing actions and stuff like that. So forcing a naturally developing masculinized brain to behave like a feminized brain can lead to these symptoms. I actually am kind of also now in the camp that ADHD is really not a thing. I think it's not an abnormality of brain development at all. I think it's a quite normal thing. Hence, we have so many people with it. Thoughts? Comments? Oh my God, you guys are so talkative today. All right, well then we'll finish then. I'm gonna go run off and look for luggage. So, do you have any final comments, Amanda?
I don't think so, no.
All right, well, good job. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yay! Yay! Okay. See you guys later. Stop.